Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jeremiah. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Jeremiah.
So my sobriety date is 9/11/2017. I am from Branson, Missouri, as Matt said. I don't even think that Matt knew I was speaking tonight. I'm not sure. But I was asked to speak. They asked our host committee to kind of just jump on board and kind of host this month, which is really awesome. And Matt, knowing me, he reached out to me. And so I reached out to my host committee, and they were all about it. And me being the, director, like I like to be as an alcoholic, I started orchestrating who was going to speak which day and who was going to do what. And I had no idea that I was actually going to be the one speaking. But obviously my higher power thought that this is the way it needed to go. So that just kind of happened. So yeah, by the way, this is all really awesome. And I've never been a part of an online meeting, so this is really cool. I'm really digging it. So I was stressed out yesterday because I was like, well, what am I going to talk about? I have no idea what kind of topic to use. I wish they would have just given me one. That would make so much more sense, right? But me being the alcoholic, I just wanted to plan, and I wanted to have the best thing. And so I did what the program taught me to do. And that was immediately to just quiet my mind and to pray, to, let God kind of give me that direction. And after thinking about it, I thought, before I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I didn't have a higher power. I didn't have any form of spirituality whatsoever. And so I thought that I would share with you guys how I developed my relationship with my higher power and how I found spirituality through the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I guess in order to do that, I have to tell you, by the way, Matt, if I hit 15 or 20 minutes, please let me know. So I guess I need to tell you what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now in order to let you hear my story. I was raised in a home where religion was kind of pounded into us. I was raised in this radical spiritual home where, we laid hands on the sick and we spoke in tongues. And that was just kind of the household I was raised in. And I never felt good enough. I never felt like I could live up to that God that we were serving in our home. And I just kind of struggled with that even as a child. And so as I got older, sexuality isn't really a huge part of my story, but it is. And so I was molested a bunch. And so I always reached out for that kind of attention. I needed that. I craved that. And God kind of just had no place in there for me. And so I found alcohol. And alcohol was my solution to everything. It gave me everything that I could possibly ever need. It gave me the mask that I would wear so that I could be the person that you wanted me to be. I could be whoever it needed to be. I could be that strong person that I thought I needed to be. And but the problem was that I drank for oblivion. I would drink until I would black out. And that was great for me because I didn't want to remember anything. I didn't want to think about this whole God concept and being a homosexual and having all that going on as well. So alcohol did it. And eventually, like with everybody else, alcohol turned on me. It no longer was fun for me, and it no longer did the things that I thought it should do. It became my master, and I took it to some very dark places, as most of us do. And I'm sure I don't need to get into war stories because we all have them. You know what I mean? We all come into these rooms for a reason. But fast forward, after all these crazy things happening, I found the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I kind of just went in thinking this place is going to teach me how to drink properly. I didn't think anything about how I was going to necessarily find this higher power. Because had I known that God had anything to do with this program, I wouldn't have wanted anything to do with it. So I came in and I did what I was told to do. I got a sponsor and I started working the program, and I came to step 2 and I struggled with that one a little bit. And then the whole turning my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. I didn't want anything to do with this God because the God that I knew hated me and he wanted nothing to do with me. Because of the things of my past and the way that I was living and the lifestyle that I was choosing to live, I couldn't have anything to do with that. But it was instructed to me to keep my mind open. And in the book the 12 and 12 talks about having that key of willingness. And once that door opens ever so slightly, we can start to develop that contact with that higher power. And for me, that's what I did. I went into it with an open mind, and I remember like trying to go to church, and I had a spiritual experience while I was there. And but let me back it up. So I remember going to the speaker, and the speaker talking about how she had this amazing God moment, and how she was like hiking through the forest, and she was throwing these big sticks and each one was like a character defect, and God was filling her in each moment. Excuse me. And she threw that last stick, and this tree exploded right in front of her. And I remember how badly I wanted that experience. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on a hike, and I'm going to figure out where God's at in this whole hike. And it didn't happen for me like that. Spirituality, I realized, isn't something that I can just want and attain. It takes action, and it takes things that I have to put forth effort. And so anyways, I continued to work the steps. And I remember like going through my fourth and fifth step, and the best way that like I love those steps, it's almost like having a cup and just being emptied, right? And then you have all this room for this higher power or this spiritual experience to come in and just fill this cup. And that's where I'm at today, is like after doing the fourth and fifth step, like it leaves all this room and I'm able to have this spiritual experience. And so that continued to happen. And I still wonder like how my life got to where it is today. I have this amazing relationship with my higher power, and still I'm just like dumbfounded as to how it got this way. But like I have this connection, and my cup stays spiritually full. Like I stay spiritually full through different things. And one is through like working with sponsees and with a sponsor. And I have a sponsor who just like I am 100% open and honest with 24/7. This woman knows my life. She knows my story, and she knows when to call me out on my shit. And I have this experience with these sponsees, and it's like God has a funny way of like putting people in my life. It's like he chooses these people that originally, like one of the guys I'm working with, I thought, there's no way I can work with him because he's too much like me. And I remember calling my sponsor and being like, this is not going to work. And she was telling me like, who are you to pick and choose who God wants you to work with? Like, you have to be open to this. And so I was willing, and I started working with this kid, and my heart started to unharden just by working with him. And I didn't realize that there was some underlying issues that I had yet dealt with. But by going into this thing with him, it's just, again, just like the spirituality of this program, it's just an amazing thing. MOSCYPAA is a really big part of my life. The young people in Alcoholics Anonymous, just the whole side of it is just amazing. I think when I came into the rooms, I was sober for like 2 months, and I went to my first conference, and it was MOSCYPAA. And I remember being so uncomfortable and so out of my element, like how in the world am I going to get through this weekend? And the people there just wrapped me up in love and showed me what an amazing experience I could have with them. And now, like my cup doesn't just get full by working the 12 steps and like being around the long timers is a big part of it, but being around the young people as well is just as big part of my spirituality. Dancing on chairs till 4 o'clock in the morning is such a huge part, you know what I mean? And it's just an amazing thing. I am so grateful for the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't know, like, I guess like for me, like having this spiritual experience, I went for the longest time thinking I hadn't had one. I thought that having a spiritual experience meant that you had this grandiose way of speaking, and you would sit in the rooms and you would tell this great story and this long talk. And I thought that meant you had a spiritual experience. But really, I realized after reading the spiritual experience in the back of the book that that's just not the case. You know what I mean? A spiritual experience for me is just being in the middle of the boat, you know, doing life on life's terms and being able to turn over to a higher power and know that to realize that I don't have control over any of these situations or anything that's happening in my life. If I can just turn it over to God, then everything's going to be fine. And it's just like with this whole talk here, I was stressed out, you know, because I was like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? And I did what I was supposed to do. I used the tools that the program had given me. I reached out to my sponsor, I prayed, I meditated, and I did the thing, and everything turned out okay. You know what I mean? And it's an amazing thing. So thank you for asking me to share. And I guess with that, I'll pass.